Hi guys, so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in 2015. First of all, Jupiter is still exalted in the sign of Cancer, and Jupiter will be there until July 13th. Saturn is now in the sign of Scorpio, and Saturn will be there all year. There are going to be two total eclipses. There's going to be a total solar eclipse on March 20th, and there's going to be a total lunar eclipse on April 4th. And then dates that Jupiter and Venus are going to be combust are August 15th, Venus is going to be combust, and on August 26th, Jupiter is going to be combust. And these are dates that I want you guys to keep in mind. And then there's going to be a beautiful conjunction between Jupiter and Venus on July 1st. So that's going to be a good time to do something that is beneficial, that's happy, that's auspicious, that's enjoyable, etc. And then finally, Mercury is going to be retrograde 3 times. Mercury is going to be retrograde January 21st until February 1st, May 18th until June 11th, and September 17th until October 9th. Okay, let's talk about the eclipses really quick. The eclipses happen when the nodes of the moon, the north node and the south node, which in Vedic astrology are termed Rahu and Ketu, they cause a shadow on the sun or the moon. So the sun and the moon represent our mind and our soul. So what ends up happening is there's a shadow that covers our soul, it covers our mind. There's a shadow of a doubt, there's confusion, there's uncertainty during these times. We don't see things clearly, we don't really see where we're going. Things are like kind of, dawn and dusk. Things are shady, things are shadowy, things are smoky. So during these times, during an eclipse, we want to avoid anything auspicious, especially on the day of the eclipse. And if you can help it, don't go outside that day, but most importantly, do not look at the eclipse. Following an eclipse, pay attention to the nakshatra that the eclipse takes place. This year, the solar eclipse is going to take place in the nakshatra of Hasta, and the lunar eclipse is going to take place in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. So what you guys want to do is remember these nakshatras, and following 3 to 6 months after the eclipse, do not do anything important. Do not get married. Do not purchase a house. Do not sign a large contract, etc. Do not do anything that's very important when a planet is transiting these two nakshatras. Now, eclipses usually do not affect everyone equally. Most people will not have a planet in the nakshatra that the eclipse takes place, but some of us do have planets in those nakshatras. So check your natal chart, check your Vedic astrology birth chart, and see if you have any natal planets in the nakshatra of Hasta, which happens in the sign of Virgo. This is between 10 degrees and 23 degrees 20 minutes of Virgo. And check to see if you have a planet in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada, and this one takes place in the sign of Pisces between 3 degrees 20 minutes of Pisces to 16 degrees 40 minutes of Pisces. So if you guys have any planets in Pisces or Virgo, then the significations of those planets, or whatever houses they rule, or whatever natural qualities that these planets signify, may tend to get affected by the eclipse, but the effect will be more pronounced if your planet happens to fall in one of these nakshatras. Okay, so the other 2 dates for you guys to keep in mind are the dates that Venus and Jupiter are combust. These 2 planets are the most beneficial planets in astrology. And so when these 2 planets happen to be combust, you guys also want to avoid doing anything auspicious. Getting married, purchasing a house, selling a house, signing a contract, going on an interview, or just anything that's very important that signifies something that's long term. You guys don't want to do it during these the combustion of any of these two planets. So with that being said, you know, again, Venus is going to be combust on August 15th, avoiding anything about a week or two prior to that date, a week or two after the date, and then Jupiter is going to be combust on August 26th. Finally, keep in mind the dates that Mercury is retrograde, because these are dates that you guys don't want to make any large purchases. Mercury represents communication, it represents the intellect, discrimination, the ability to judge correctly, the ability to analyze. And when Mercury goes retrograde, things tend to get a little bit fuzzy. We do not analyze things correctly. We analyze things in a backward way. We don't judge correctly. We don't see the flaws in things. We're not able to discriminate very well between right and wrong, or between good or bad. And so if you guys, you know, don't go on a shopping spree, don't sign any contracts, don't make a large purchase, do not buy a house, do not get a car during a retrograde Mercury, because what will end up happening is you guys might regret it down the road. Then once Mercury goes direct, then you guys will see the flaws in your purchase. You guys will want to return it. Sometimes you can return it, sometimes you can't. So just keep that in mind, and keep those dates in mind. The dates that Mercury is retrograde, do not do anything that's highly auspicious. The first half of the year, Jupiter is going to be in your 5th house, exalted in the sign of Cancer. And Jupiter is going to be there until the 13th of July. This is a very, very good time for overall wealth, overall abundance, overall prosperity, because from this position, Jupiter aspects the 11th house. The 11th house has to do with easy gains. So basically, this is a very good placement for speculation, for investing in the stock market, for investments in general. Of course, this has to do with your own personal birth chart, so please check your chart. Please check to see if your own personal planetary cycle that you're running is supporting that. Since Jupiter rules your 1st house and it's placed in the 5th exalted, Jupiter tends to bring some extra recognition during this first half of the year, some extra fame, some extra popularity. This is a time of growth and expansion regarding yourself, regarding your career. Jupiter rules the 10th house of work and career. So with its placement in the 5th house, there is an extra touch of good luck coming to you in regards to career. Without you having to really put any effort, there might be a sudden promotion. There might be a sudden advancement or a sudden job that you suddenly acquire without expecting it, but it's as a result of some blessings that are coming into your life. And it's also the time to generate some good karma for the future, because the 10th house has to do with the deeds that we do. The 10th house is called the karma sthana. Karma means action, the kind of work, the kind of action, the deeds that we do, the karma that we generate in this lifetime. That's what the 10th house has to do with. So with the 10th Lord and your ascendant Lord being in the 5th house, this indicates that this is a time for you to focus on performing some good deeds, generating some good karma for yourself, becoming a little bit more spiritual, seeking some inner spiritual guidance, because the 5th house is also a house of spirituality. It's a Dharma house. It's one of the 3 Dharma houses. You feel a deeper sense of purpose during this time. You feel the impulse for expressing your consciousness, for expressing your intellect, for expressing your creativity in a purposeful way. You want to share with others. You feel blessings in your life at this time. You feel very optimistic. You feel very happy. You feel very joyful. And you have that need that is very compelling, this drive that you want to share what you feel with the rest of the world. Saturn is transiting the 9th house, and Jupiter is aspecting the 9th house, and Saturn rules the 11th house. So one indication is 11th Lord in the 9th house. That creates a Dana Yoga, which is the combination for wealth. So wealth is supported in that way, aside from the fact that Jupiter is in the 5th house during this time as well. Now, that is also an indication for travel, because we have the two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, combining their influence onto the 9th house of travel. It could also indicate a desire to expand and grow your intellect. So this could either be done through creativity with Jupiter in the 5th house, or it could be done through going back to school, through higher education. The 9th house has to do with higher education. It has to do with colleges and universities. And the 5th house itself has to do with the intellect, with intelligence, with acquiring knowledge. The acquiring knowledge could also take the form of wisdom and reading sacred scriptures. The 5th house has to do with scriptures. It has to do with religious practices. So that is another thing. The 5th house has to do with mantras as well. So this may be a time of acquiring tantric knowledge, or acquiring spiritual knowledge, spiritual wisdom. Jupiter is supporting that, acquiring the kind of wisdom that helps you on your spiritual path during this time, especially because of all this dharmic influence happening in your life. So for many of you, this may be a calling to deepen your spirituality and to seek that kind of knowledge and that kind of wisdom. Jupiter will then be entering the sign of Leo the 2nd half of the year on the 13th of July. So this is going to continue to be beneficial in terms of work and career. From this position, Jupiter will be aspecting your 10th house at that time and transiting your 6th house. This indicates that there could be a promotion at work during the 2nd half of the year. There could be an expansion in the workplace as well. There may be some harder work involved, because the 6th house indicates having to work a little bit harder. It indicates some service work. You may become more interested in health and healing during this time. You may deepen your knowledge regarding health. You may learn about different health or healing modalities, and you may even improve your healing ability as well. Overall, this is going to be a very good year for you. This is going to be a year of abundance. It's going to be a year of success at work. It's going to be a year of dharma, of fulfilling your sense of purpose and of seeking a deeper sense of purpose and spirituality. So this is going to be very beneficial overall, a very favorable year for 2015. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for additional forecasts, and don't forget to subscribe.